Every day brings a new headline about the threat of artificial intelligence. The anxieties are mounting that algorithms will make our jobs obsolete and that deepfakes are eroding objective truth. Beyond the software itself, there's a growing unease that tech executives are rushing these tools to market, deploying automated systems into our daily lives without societal consent or federal regulation. But society has navigated this exact flavor of technological panic before. A century ago, the American public felt similarly overwhelmed by a wave of massive mechanical disruption. Between 1920 and 1930, the arrival of cars, airplanes, and radio rearranged American life, altering how people worked, traveled, and connected with one another. The way the country made peace with that decade's innovation frenzy provides a map for how society can absorb and eventually control the impact of a jarring new technology. Examining the past provides actionable evidence. It demystifies the anxiety surrounding modern algorithms and shows us exactly how society forces new technology to work for us. The first reaction to sudden innovation is often a fear that the new tool will isolate us and destroy our moral frameworks. In the 1920s, sociologists studying Muncie, Indiana, documented how fast cars and open roads were replacing local traditions. They found that weekend drives were cutting into Sunday church attendance, and young couples were trading chaperoned parlor meetings for unsupervised car rides. Prominent intellectuals pushed back hard against modernization. Novelists like F. Scott Fitzgerald cast the new tech as a villain, and British author H.G. Wells looked at the booming popularity of radio and dismissed it as inferior entertainment suited only by the sick, the lonely, and the suffering. But the executives building these tools saw something else. RCA's general manager, David Sarnoff, argued he was improving the happiness of the nation by delivering music to millions. Rather than isolating people, mass audience radio connected the country, stitching together a shared national culture for the first time. The cultural panic fades because everyday convenience and human connection outweigh moral outrage. Society simply rewrites its rules to absorb the new tool into daily life. The second, tangible anxiety is the threat to our livelihoods, the fear that automated systems are an apex predator coming to replace human labor. This fear has a basis in reality. During the disruption of the 1920s, anyone making a living in a traditional sector, like horse-drawn transportation, saw their industry completely wiped out. But this ignores a major economic mechanism known as spillover jobs. When a new technology scales, it does automate old tasks, but it also generates demand for secondary industries. This chart shows the specific labor growth driven by the era's new tech. The movie viewing boom led local entrepreneurs to open over 20,000 theaters across America, while widespread electrification created more than 80,000 electrician jobs by 1930, a profession that barely existed 10 years earlier. The millions of new cars required mechanics, filling stations, and physical infrastructure. That translated to 450,000 people hired to build roads and bridges, and 168,000 workers needed in rubber factories just to supply Detroit with tires. The economic threat is the period of friction between the death of old industries and the slow scaling of the new sectors that eventually replace them. The darkest fear surrounding modern algorithms is that developers prioritize rapid scaling and profit, regardless of the consequences to public safety. That aggressive lack of regulation accurately describes the early transportation boom. Airplanes were flown by pilots with as little as 10 hours of training, and early cars lacked four-wheel brakes or shatterproof glass, leading to a per-mile death rate 20 times as high as today. However, as injury rates climb, public tolerance shatters. The collective demand for safety forces both government and industry to intervene. Following public outcry from figures like Charles Lindbergh, Congress passed the Air Commerce Act of 1926 to set strict pilot training requirements. Simultaneously, New Jersey introduced the first mandatory driver's licenses to conserve human life. The regulation took physical shape on the streets. Major cities like Detroit and Los Angeles installed the first red, yellow, and green traffic lights, establishing hard rules that govern drivers' actions on busy streets. Unregulated technology never stays unregulated forever. Public pressure acts as a forcing function, compelling governments to construct the safety infrastructure needed to tame the machine. The early automotive pioneers actively fought these guardrails, employing the exact same arguments we hear today from tech giants who claim regulation will stifle innovation. Right now, federal attempts to write landmark legislation to control data and algorithms frequently stall in Congress without even a vote. We are living through the chaotic, unregulated phase of the cycle. But the timeline of adoption shows us how this resolves. As Dario Amodei, the CEO of the AI company Anthropic, recently pointed out, when put in the darkest circumstances, humanity has a way of gathering, seemingly at the last minute, the strength and wisdom needed to prevail. The objective is not to block this technology from existing. If Henry Ford's assembly lines and widespread electrification taught us anything, it is that trying to hold back progress never works. We are already seeing early signs of AI-driven roles in personalized education and precision healthcare. We must identify these emerging sectors early and demand the regulatory frameworks required to control the speed of innovation. AI is the engine of our era. Now we have to build the brakes.